Hey everybody, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. We've got a cool video in store for you today, properly named The Replacements. What we're doing with this video is we are going to be talking about some fish that are really cool, but sometimes they present some challenges. Either they are a little bit too aggressive, maybe the tank size, you're going to need a little bit larger tank size. And so what we're doing is we're coming up with some fish that are popular, but some fish that might be good if you don't want to deal with potential issues. Hope you enjoy the video.
All right, so I'm going to start this show with one of my favorite picks, and we just did a versus video, the Discus versus the severum. So say you're like me, you've got suckered in, you really want the Discus, but that's a whole big ball of wax. They're considered kind of a little bit more experienced fish keeping sort of deal. You can consider the severums. They're also very beautiful colors and have great personalities.
And like you said, we just did a video comparing them, so we're not going to go into great detail here, but if you want a fish that doesn't require the same challenging water parameters in some cases and potentially the tank maintenance, the severum might be a better option than a Discus. Now, the next one, and this is one that is actually very common, and that is often people see the really pretty swordtails or maybe even the mollies at a pet store. And what sometimes gets overlooked is the swordtails and the mollies. They can be a little bit on the aggressive side. A better option might be if you go the platy route. Platies tend to show the same color, be close to the same size, maybe a little bit on the smaller side compared to the other two, but they are far more peaceful than the swordtails and the mollies. And sometimes what people overlook is some of these swordtails and mollies can get quite large.
Yes.
Usually 5-6 inches in some cases, especially for the male swordtails and those female mollies or the male sailfin mollies. And so you have to have the proper size tank. You have to be able to accommodate for their a little bit more aggressive nature, assertive nature, where the mollies stay a little, the platies stay a little bit smaller, a couple inches or so, and they're going to be a lot easier to deal with in that community tank and still give you the cool colors.
All right, so the next one that I'm going to choose is the Betta. A lot of people really love Bettas. They're great fish. However, what happens if you have a nice little community tank and you've got some fin nippers in there? You may not want to be putting that, especially a male Betta in there. What's a good replacement? The honey gourami. We have honey gouramis in this fish room, and let me tell you, they have beautiful color, they're adorable, and they're just really fun to watch with great personalities, just like a Betta.
And you're still going to get that great color from your honey gourami.
Yeah.
And again, I think the important point that you stated is they're going to be a little bit easier when it comes to finding tank mates for them. So it's just something to consider. The next one up on the list, and this is a really common mistake, and that is sometimes people love to put red-tailed sharks or rainbow sharks in a semi-community fish tank. And these fish, often they will behave themselves for the most part when they are small. What some people don't realize is as they get larger, they get considerably more aggressive, and they are not at all good fish for that community tank. We've done species profiles, by the way, on most of the fish that we're talking about today, so I will put those in the description below if you want more information on any of the fish we talk about. But the red-tailed sharks and the rainbow sharks can be very aggressive. So what's a good replacement for them? It's not as common, but if you can find it, the red-tail botia. So it's basically, imagine a smaller version of a clown loach, but it gets a really pretty blue with a red tail. So it gives you some of the same colors as the rainbow shark and the red-tailed shark, but they are a lot more friendly than those other two. And you can keep them in groups. Now you're going to need a larger tank, just like you would for the other fish, the rainbows and the red tails, but they are not going to be nearly as aggressive.
All right, for the next one, I'm going to pick Cardinal tetras. Who doesn't love Cardinal tetras? I love Cardinal tetras. Do we have any in this fish room? No, we do not. Why? Because we have hard water. If you are like us and maybe you do not have the softer water and the lower pH that they really have to have, you're not gonna have any good luck with them. So what do we choose? Neons. There are so many different neons to choose, including the best in my opinion, the green neon, but there's also black neons. There's all different kinds that you can choose, and they do much better in a wide variety, at least a wider variety of water parameters.
Not only that, but you've got the standard neon, which is pretty close to the same fish. It's just the red part of the underbelly doesn't go quite as far. but they're very close in terms of the way they look and their overall behavior and size. But again, they tolerate water parameters that are closer to neutral, maybe a little bit on the moderately hard side, where the Cardinals, not quite so much. Now for this next one, this is a little bit of a larger cichlid, and that is the Jack Dempsey. And the Jack Dempsey is an amazing fish, and a lot of people want to keep these amazing fish. There's a couple problems with the Jack Dempsey, as you might expect from the name. They are, well, they can be a little bit aggressive. Now, if you've got that larger South American setup with other aggressive fish, great. If you don't, then the Jack Dempsey might not be for you because of their aggression, because of the way that they grow pretty large, and the fact they love to dig. A better option might be some of the Geophagus. You're still going to get that amazing color, but not nearly the amount of aggression, and they are absolutely showstoppers in a tank. We've done a few species profiles on these fish. They are awesome. Definitely something to consider if you're looking at that spangling type of color that the Jack Dempsey brings.
So let's just say that the Geophagus, as awesome as it is too big. Say you're in the nano tanks like I am. Maybe the largest tank that you have is 20 gallon. What can you consider if you love those Geophagus? Well, the Ram. Why? Because it's actually a micro Geophagus.
Rams are so cool. They still have plenty of color, and they're even, I would say, less aggressive than the Geophagus. As you mentioned, the great thing is you can put them in a smaller tank. They're very common, easy to find, and you have a lot of stocking options when it comes to fish you can keep with your Rams. So definitely a great option there. The last one we're going to address today, and that is in the African cichlid side. A lot of people like to keep the Demasoni cichlid. This is a really cool cichlid with those dark blue and light blue stripes. The problem is they are one of the more aggressive Mbuna cichlids out there, and they will often mess up a tank. And the problem is you will often find these fish sold as assorted African cichlids at PetSmarts and Petco's, and then you bring it home and you put it in your assorted African cichlid tank, and within a week the thing is destroying everything else in the tank. There's a better option. If you like that look, I highly recommend check out Pseudotropheus solosi. This is a fantastic fish, and the males get pretty much the same color, but the females stay kind of like an orangish yellow, and so you actually get two different color cichlids for the same species. Much less aggressive, will fit in nicer with that African cichlid Mbuna community tank. Certainly something that I would consider. We don't even keep the Demasoni in our fish room because they're pretty rough.
Okay, everybody, hopefully you enjoyed that video.
And that was some replacements. If you've got some fish that you've had to kind of switch up, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments section below. Appreciate you being here. Again, we've got tons of species profiles in the description if you want to learn more about the fish we mentioned here. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.